It is time for Flames Unfiltered. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud, joined alongside the other host of the show, Kyle Lewis. And Kyle, it's just it's Flames hockey. We got a ton to talk about, and it should be a good time.
Yeah, it's the time of year where we get to go on X and see all kinds of ridiculous trade proposals. Leafs fans losing their minds. There's always lots happening, right?
It's out of control. How's your week going? Plugging away?
Oh, man, it's been nuts. It's been so busy. We had yesterday was a record day for us at work, one of our record days, and it's February, which is not typically a very busy time for construction, but it sure is out east. So
that is good. Yeah.
You
grinding away this week too. Yeah, grinding away. Not feeling all that great today, but I'm gonna grind through the show here. I'm on injured reserve, but I'm good.
Just day to day with a cold. Is that what it is?
Day to day with a cold.
Nice.
But you know what? I got a couple confessions here before we get going here. I'm not the best with colds. I'm kind of a pansy when it comes to colds.
Okay.
My wife would definitely vouch for that. And then speaking of wives, I realized last night about 11:30, it's Valentine's Day today.
It is.
And my wife and I have been together for 18 years, right?
Wow.
And I think we've got each other a Valentine's Day gift maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm shockingly, I'm not the most romantic guy in the world, believe that or not.
No, get right out of town.
So I just, I'm the most, I try to be practical with her. I'm like, yeah, let's just save it and do something together, right? Which we never do. And so today I wake up and I go downstairs, and of course there's a bag on the island in our kitchen of stuff for me and a Valentine's card for my wife. And I thought, holy shit,
what did you do?
This is not a good situation, right? So I had absolutely nothing. So I thanked my wife. I gave her a hug and I went out the door to work. I'm at work and I'm racking my brain on what to do. Ask the guys at work and they're like, get her a Target gift card or I'm thinking she'll just spend that on groceries for us. I mean, whoopee, that's no big deal.
Your wife sounds wonderful, by the way. Continue.
Yeah, she's an understanding gal. Oof. And I dug deep and I thought, all right, I got a friend, which is also a friend of my wife's, that gives massages.
Nice.
So I text her. I'm like, hey, Alyssa, hook me up here. Get my wife a massage. Just send her over something saying that she's got a massage coming. So I got off the hook there. I look like a halfway decent husband. Whew. Problem averted, right?
Yeah, man. I had a massage on Monday, and it was fantastic. Can't recommend it enough.
I can't do massages.
Why not?
Because I've had two, and they are so good that if I keep doing it, I would go broke.
Oh,
it's kind of like crack. Like I'd be there every day. I'd be like, hey, book me down every day, 11 to 12. I like them. I like massages.
Oh, that's funny. So one of the things you did do, there was a good segue, but I lost it because I forget what you said initially. But one of the things that you was mentioned was about getting something. One thing you did get and did send me is these sweet Flames Unfiltered t-shirts.
Yes,
in various sizes, colors, and my God, are they comfortable? So I've spent most of the last year. They're great.
Shirt, though, aren't they? They're comfortable.
And they make me. This will be another segue, but I'll get into that in a second. I've been sending them to people all over Canada. My buddy Jim Goudreau in Boston sent him some, and then some friends in Australia and Sweden, fans of the show, Flames fans. So for those listening, if you'd like one, by all means, please send us a message on X or probably best send us a message. We'll see if we can't get you one. I've got a few more to go through, and I'm more than happy to send them to our fans. And got my buddy Greg. I had to give him a few because he's one of our most consistent listeners. So what I was going to say about them, this is my segue into my brief other decision I made this week. These shirts make me look more muscular than I am, which is to say they make me look muscular at all. But I took the plunge on the advice of my buddy Jim, and I hired a personal trainer, which is Ricky Halfpenny, who's this wonderful gentleman in England. And he's designing a program for me and all this kind of shit. So this is something I've always wanted to do and never really had the motivation to really see it through. And then after talking to Jim and then getting in touch with Ricky, it's like, you know what? I'm going to sign up for the 3-month program, see if I get my ass in shape, see how I feel, and go from there.
Good luck. That's good.
Yeah.
I need to do that. I mean, you know what? See, I always try to do these exercise things, but I don't have that trainer. And that's who holds the shit over your head. And that's who's going to.
Yeah. And it's somebody be supportive and motivate you, you know, and have some, you know, I don't need a taskmaster, but I need somebody who holds me somewhat accountable. And they have this really great team of people that are doing this. And I'm going to give it a whirl because it's one thing I've just never really stuck with. And I spend money on stupid shit all the time. I should spend some money on my own health. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. I know. Me too. I have too many hobbies and habits and things that
Yeah. So one other thing before we get into the you know, the nature of our podcast, the Flames and hockey in general, we have a new inside sales guy at work who I didn't know, but he's kind of a metalhead.
Oh,
so I've been like educating him. I introduced him to Motorhead yesterday because all he knew was Ace of Spades, and today I put on Megadeth's Rust in Peace, and he's a big Megadeth guy, and he's like, "Let's go!" Like while we were driving, he's right into it. It was pretty cool. So I'm going to continue to broaden his musical horizons.
We could talk for an hour on that.
I suspect we will at some point, but we have so many other things we need to talk about.
We do one thing before Flames, though. I need to get your. This could be a rabbit hole we don't need to go down, but I need your 30-second take on the open net goal, Riley's hit, and the suspension.
It was a really asshole thing to do, take a slap shot on the empty net. But I laughed when it happened. I laughed, and I watched it live. I laughed, and then I kind of shuddered because I knew something bad was going to happen. And Morgan Riley doing. I totally understand the need to respond. I won't debate that for a second. Like whether you shoved him or challenged him to a fight, like that was the right mentality.
I would have gloves though immediately and went after him.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense than cross-check him in the head. So the funny thing that happened in the days that followed, and there was a lot of funny things that happened, but was like Leafs fans losing their minds about, oh, Riley did the right thing. And Sid Sixero here in Canada, he used to be on Tim and Sid, is an idiot who just likes to hear himself talk. He's getting worse with age, and it's just deplorable. He's like, oh, Riley did the right thing. No, he didn't. He did a very stupid thing in an act of rage or passion or whatever. But the funniest thing, do you remember the Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire like 20-some years ago?
Not a real good movie guy.
Anyway, so in the movie, there's a scene where Willem Dafoe, who plays the Green Goblin, meets Peter Parker, and it's like, oh, I'm something of a scientist myself. So somebody tweeted, I should credit them, but I can't remember who it was. They posted that picture of him saying it, and it said Leafs fans everywhere, and it said, I'm something of a fucking idiot myself. It just killed me because you can't justify what he did. It was a dumb move.
Here's one of the things that I thought it was hilarious that it happened. I understand why Ridley Gregg did it because he threw Leafs Nation into a shit show, and now he's going to be a hero in Ottawa till the day he dies. And like, there's so many Leafs fans in Ottawa that night. It's like giant middle finger to you.
Oh yeah, well,
one of the things that I got two things, and we'll talk Flames, I promise. Two things though that came up in this. I listened to Elliot Friedman the next day, and I have the utmost respect for Elliot Friedman. He's a great guy. I've met him. He freaking sat and had a beer in the table next to me. Visited with him for a while. Great guy.
Yeah.
But I was taken aback because usually his stance is, you can't have this in the game of hockey.
Yeah. And
they all were defending the Leafs on this one. They were saying 3 games, 2 games. I'm like, whoa. And I don't think Elliot didn't name a number of games. He didn't. I'm not going to put words into his mouth, but he was like on the side of, I'm surprised this is going this far. And all I could think of when I watched this is, can somebody explain to me, there's 2 things that were left out of this. No one brought up that this happened after the play was over. The whistle had blown. This isn't Erasmus Anderson hitting Patrick Laine with 3 seconds to go. This happened completely after a whistle. Completely. Yeah. And I don't understand how this is any different than Pierre Turgeon getting hit by Dale Hunter. I have no idea. Somebody explain to me why it's any different. That got 21 games in the playoff.
In the 80s.
In the 80s when this stuff was like condoned.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's just... No, it's insane. And I don't know if you saw, but Jennifer Botterill got absolutely roasted because a few months ago, she gave a very passionate, very well-structured argument, against this type of shit.
Yeah.
And then she comes out and endorses this. And all right.
You want to know why? I'm going to tell you why.
Please do.
Sportsnet, Leafs. Is there a connection there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a connection there, right? Yeah. That's the reason why the message came down from the top.
Here's the thing, and we will get to Flames talk, I promise. But this is great for anybody who's just a hockey fan in general. Something that's really pissing me off, and as far as I know, the only guy who's got me blocked right now on X is Eric Francis. But he's a great example. Botterill's an example because she's been blocking people left, right, and center. If you want to be a media personality in pro sports and you want to give your opinion and you want to sit on the satellite hot stove or whatever, and you want to give these opinions, no matter what they are, in so doing, you need to accept the consequences of what you said. So I don't agree with
we get roasted.
Oh,
we get roasted on the show.
Yeah, well, we've said things people don't agree with, and we will again, and that's fine. And but you can't run around X blocking people because you said something controversial.
No,
it's part of the job.
Yep.
And by blocking people who have a difference of opinion or who rightfully call you out and say you had a bad take, and we've all had that happen. But I didn't block anybody who said all
kinds of things. I've said all kinds of things. It's like it's my opinion. And that's somebody else's opinion. And you know what? I'm going to say things on the show today that I know are going to piss some Flames fans off. They are. But it's my opinion, and everybody else has theirs. That's why we have these conversations, right?
Yeah.
I'll listen to everybody's opinion. And I'm not saying mine's right, because you know what? It might get proven really wrong. And I can name off a list of them that have been proven wrong.
Yeah.
But I can tell you too that we're right, too. You know.
Same. But if it's an old saying, if you don't like the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And that's what pisses me off. And I'm kind of using that impassioned tone that Cgy uses, but he's a great example too. Deal with it, or shut your mouth, or find a different job where you aren't subjected to people reacting to your opinions, because that is your job. You're trying to get a reaction. Blocking people is just the most immature, unless they're a troll. I get that, but it's the most immature, I can't handle criticism for the things that I say, even though I have a platform for which I can vent them to millions of people. Like,
I think shut your mouth. Crazy. I think it's crazy that where we're at in the game today, and believe me, I'm an old school guy. Everybody that listens to this show knows that. Mm-hmm. For me to say that it's really wrong because it happened after the play, like my goodness, what? Okay, so what pedestal does this set? So now every time somebody scores a goal, what happens? You can take a shot at them, and you get 5 games. That's what we're set now. That's what's set.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
This, if Ridley Gregg did that to Morgan Riley, how many games is it?
10.
Exactly.
8 or 10, I'd say. You know, but it's so frustrating because, like, when it comes to this kind of thing, and people, you know, obviously they react the way they react to it, and whatever. It's like there's no code. I'm so tired of hearing about the code. There's no code. There's no answering the bell just because you laid some out with a nice clean hit, which happens I'm so sick of this shit. If you want a code, write a code.
The same people, Jennifer Botterill, the same people that have been boohoo and stuff all year long, mysteriously had a different opinion on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
No, and it's absolutely maddening. So to summarize this, reaction was warranted, and I do think it's funny that Greg did that. It was and I would love this word. It was an emphatic end to the hockey game. It was an emphatic way, to put a period on the victory. But it warranted a reaction. But that was an extremely dumb reaction that is entirely indefensible.
All he had to do to set a reaction, because I agree. It needed a reaction. I'm old school. Someone needed to beat the Paul Potter Riley or Ridley Gregg. Old Brandon Weeking.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. You drop the gloves immediately and you beeline over to him and you lay a good punch right in his face. You come in swinging with your first one. And I'm totally okay with that.
I'd be more okay with challenging him to a fight. I don't want to see him get sucker punched, but
I'm okay. Well, I'd rather see somebody do it with a fist than a stick.
Yeah. If I have to pick, yeah. I mean, the stick should never be up that high anyway, but anyway.
But I don't know. Okay, let's talk Flames. Even though we both got our opinion off there. But you know what? That's good hockey talk right there. Because that's
what we're here for.
That's what a lot of people were thinking this week in the hockey world.
So what do you want to start with? Because I have a little list here, and I'm sure we'll get to each of them, but let's start.
I have an idea. I have an idea. You tell me.
Uh-oh.
And then I'll fill in my list as you go.
So
how does that sound?
You hear that click?
Holy cow, you're really
So there's a few different things. First thing, let's just get the easy stuff for the biggest. Jacob Pelletier, his injury is not related to a surgically repaired shoulder. He is only day-to-day. We can now breathe a collective sigh of relief. We should see him back sometime within the next week, I would say.
What did you think of that play?
It was dirty.
Why?
I didn't like. I mean, he was in a vulnerable position. Yeah, but I mean, I understand the collision, but I mean, for God's sakes, if he's in a vulnerable position.
You knew that defenseman's there. He's so far up. You know he's stepping up on you.
I don't know. I think I'd have to watch it again. I guess I feel like
if he's down further at the hash marks. Now, I'm not saying like on a breakout you should want to be down that low, but if you're down further on that defenseman's not stepping into you. He was way up by the blue line. He's going to get stepped into because the puck's coming his way.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed really aggressive to me for what it was, but
Trouba hit him hard. Hit him hard.
Yeah.
But like that's what I would want my guy to do. He didn't raise an elbow, didn't put an elbow into his head.
I shouldn't. Let me clarify. He didn't do anything dirty. I just thought the hit was really aggressive. A little more than what was warranted based on the play, where the puck was, Pelletier's body position, all that. But
I worry about Pelletier. I worry about if it's going to.
The only thing I don't agree with about Pelletier is these people saying he's too small to play in NHL. That's stupid. There's people way smaller than him. It's nothing to do with that.
I don't know. It's nothing to do with that. He got caught with his head down. You want to know why? Because he's a young player. It happens.
When he got injured in camp too, that type of injury happens all the time.
Yes.
So no. There is concern. Yeah, there could be concern. Maybe that perhaps he might be considered injury prone, although it's far too early to say that.
Pretty early.
But anyway, yeah, we'll see. The main thing is that
glad he's okay. Let's sum it up by saying that. Glad he's okay.
Yeah. What do you want to trade off? Or I'm going to keep going.
Sure, I got one. Quickly, I want to touch on the mystery goal, no goal. Did you see where the puck came from? Because I didn't. The Islanders game where the puck just mysteriously went in.
I saw it 3 times, and I'm still not sure if I remember exactly where it came from. That was ridiculous. And I was actually watching it with my best friend Chris and my brother Eric, and all three of us like, what the fuck just happened?
I was like, where did that puck come from? It looked like it fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
And X was hilarious. People were like,
oh, it was funny. It was
hilarious.
You know, it was funny. Actually, now that you say it, like it fell to the sky. I was talking to 2 of our inside sales guys today, and they're both seated. I'm standing there talking, and all of a sudden, an Allen wrench falls from what appears to be my crotch area and hits the floor and makes like ding noise. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And Chad's like, I don't know, like, is that like from your junk or something? And what it was is that the new guy had put an Allen wrench and tightened the bolts in his new chair, but left the wrench in one of the chair. Bolts. Yeah. So it just fell out of the chair, which is right in front of me. But as I looked down, like, I didn't have an Allen wrench. Where did that come from? It was exactly how I reacted to that puck winding up in the back. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I was like, my first reaction was, how did that get in the net? And then I was like, it's offsides. It's offsides. Because I'm like, that guy. That was my second reaction. Yeah.
I'm like, how did that get in the net? But that was a game of crazy stuff. And then Markstrom going for the empty netters. And Greg Millen laughing at that was the highlight of my weekend. That was so funny. Like I love him as a. You like him? See, I don't.
Yeah. Oh, I was cracking right up, man. That was great.
I like Kelly Rudy. I do.
I love Kelly Rudy. There's somebody else who I'm glad no longer does it, but I'll leave her name out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Okay. Okay. Well, you're next.
This is fun because we haven't rehearsed any of this. Well, we don't really rehearse anything. Markstrom trade talk with the Devils.
Well, we're going right to the juicy stuff right away. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because there's some other juicy stuff that I want to get to after, but yeah, what was your take on that?
I know.
Where are you on the whole Markstrom trade thing? Like,
you want my stance on it? Very simple. Yeah. People, this is where, when I said in the beginning of the show, the people are probably not going to like me. Here's it is. I think it's crazy talk. Okay, this team is not tearing it down to the studs. Mm-hmm. They're not. And they shouldn't. Because guess what? Buffalo tore it down to the studs, and they got super young, right? They suck. Yeah. They suck, and sucked for years. You need to have a core group, and you build around the core group. And for me, I watched Pekka Rinne work with UC Saros for years, and it worked really masterfully. Masterfully. So you
and
keep Markstrom,
very similar, if not identical, side disparity between the two goaltenders. You have a huge goaltender, Rinne, a little guy in Saros, a huge guy in Markstrom, a little guy in Wolf. I like that.
So here's what you do. You swallow your shit pie on Vladar. You're not getting a second rounder. You try to trade him for a 6th or 7th. If you can't get that, you place him on waivers, and what happens, happens. You have Wolf backing up Markstrom for the next 2 years, and you go a 30 games next year for him, 50 for Markstrom. Second of all, Markstrom plays better when he's rested anyways, right? So you go 50-30 the next year. You maybe go 50-30 the opposite direction.
Yeah. I like it.
The next year, Markstrom's gone. Problem solved. What everybody in Calgary is forgetting here, they're all forgetting this. They think that because Dustin Wolf has done everything impossible to succeed, which he has, and I love him, and I think he will be a good NHL goalie. We don't know that for sure. So we get rid of Markstrom. Wolf's our man, right? Guess what? Wolf struggles, right?
Yeah.
And then what? Then we have young offense, young defense, and a bad goalie. Then we're in trouble.
Well, that's buying into the narrative. Oh, the team has to be as bad as they possibly can. I don't necessarily think that. And actually, Conroy had said, I think it was today, the word rebuild actually was mentioned. And so people are like, yay, finally. I'm like, yeah, like, you know.
Why does everybody want this so bad in this town? Why? I don't understand. And I know people are going to give me backlash for this, but we all have opinions, right?
Well, I get it. I mean, I think there's an appetite for it because they've never truly had it, except for the time at a financial necessity years ago, right?
Name me the last team that rebuilt down to the studs that won the Stanley Cup. Pittsburgh. Remember how long ago that was?
Yeah, I'd have to think about that a little bit more, though, too. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we're already doing what we need to be doing, so I'm not that concerned about it. We're recalling young players. They're having a ton of success. That's the path forward.
So I think it's crazy talk that we're trading Markstrom. Yeah. And here's my second part of this. These rumors really went crazy on Saturday night when Elliott talked about this on headlines. And I believe Elliott reported truthfully. I don't doubt that they didn't have conversations. You know what? To be honest with you, Craig Conroy should have that conversation. And if they were going to give him,
not doing his job if he's not.
If they were going to give him a whole bunch of stuff, then I'm even for it, right? But it's got to be a lot.
Well, now, the rumor was that Murray Edwards wouldn't allow any salary retention, and I actually agree with that.
We shouldn't retain salary.
No,
because we'd have to retain salary for the next 2 years.
Yeah, there's no need of that.
The next 2 years. So here's what I don't understand. Okay, then Frank Saravelli comes out and says that they asked Markstrom for it. And then Eric Francis disputed that today. And I agree with Eric Francis. And here's why. Eric stated this today on the show. I can't remember which show, one of the shows. He said that you think that they went to Markstrom and asked him before a trade was in place? No. You get a trade in place and then you go to the player. You don't do it ass backwards. There's no way they did that. And I don't know why Frank Saravelli would report that. I mean, maybe he's right, but that to me seems completely ass backwards. And Eric Francis said the same thing. He's like, that's the part I don't believe. Is there talks? Yes, there's talks. There should be, right?
It's a little hard to believe that like the Devils or any other team would put a package together and then come to find out, the player won't waive. So I understand that side of it too, but in either case, I think the reality is somebody's had discussions, nothing on the record, nothing official, but I'm sure Craig Conroy at some point had said to Markstrom, like, we're going to look at different options. Would you consider something if we put it in front of you? And he says, yeah, I'd consider it. He's not waiving. He's just saying you consider it. Then you'd pursue a trade option potentially, right? Like this whole thing of
back and forth there.
Well, that's what I mean. This whole mentality of everything being black and white is obviously a bunch of bullshit, because what kind of negotiation on this planet these days is really that simple?
Yeah. And, I feel bad. Like, Elliott's supposed to report, Saravelli is supposed to report. They're doing the best they can, right? I mean, with what they're given. I mean, they're doing the best they can. Absolutely. And I think both of them do a pretty damn good job of it, really. I mean, so I don't know. But, we're sitting here looking at Markstrom. He's the number one star of the week. You know, he had 3 wins, 93 saves, .939 save percentage this week. Pretty damn good, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What's your take on it? Would you trade him?
Oh, for a King's ransom, yeah.
Do you
Wayne
think
Gretzky can
someone's
get
gonna
traded, right?
give us? Yeah, but do you think? I mean, what's a King's ransom?
2 A-level prospects, a first-round pick, and a young roster player.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, if the Leafs had the cap space, I mean, I still think they need a goaltender. I'm not riding Ilya Samsonov into the
How about the
playoffs.
LA Kings?
They got David Rittich. He shut out the Oilers.
Yeah, do you see what he did last night?
He got shelled, I'm guessing.
Let in 5 on 17.
Oof.
They lost 17, or they lost 7-0. They're
Yeah.
Cam
I didn't know
Talbot,
he was there for that.
Cam Talbot's save percentage was .71 and David Rittich's was .70. Reminds me of the Flames last year, right?
Oh man. So it's okay. So this is actually kind of interesting. So I sent you this just prior to us coming on. Just talking about trade talk and about the composition of the team. First of all, we're going to talk about Blake Coleman. And I saw a list.
Come on. Am I out of line on my Markstrom thoughts?
No.
Am I thinking crazy? Because
No, I don't. I like it. I honestly like it.
X really want him gone, and I'm like I get it. There's always you're always enamored to see what you would get, right?
Sure.
But like, whoa, this is a goalie that's been really good for us, like really, really good for us. And I think he would.
People keep saying we'd be a bottom 5 team without him. I'm not sure if I entirely buy that. Lately, probably because he's been so good. But again, unless it's and everybody seems to think because he's playing so well, you're automatically going to get a massive return.
No,
there's no guarantee you're going to get as much for him as you even did in the Lindholm deal necessarily.
Goalies traditionally don't bring a great return.
No, and people know they're hot and cold. I mean, I still think he could get a good return, but if I get a good return or keep him, I'm keeping him. Now, if you blow the doors open and say, this is the guy we want, we're going to give you 2 firsts, A-level prospect, roster, like whatever, it's got to be a hell of a package to make me want to do it. So, no, I don't think you're off base at all.
But I do agree with the fan base that we have to integrate Wolf sooner than later.
I also agree with that. Now, Markstrom stood on his head in New York against the Rangers, but there was a lot of talk about how the Rangers and Flames should have got Quick against Wolf because Wolf idolized Jonathan Quick. That's why he wears number 32.
They sat on the bench.
He's a kid from California, grew up watching the Kings. How cool would that have been for him to play against his boyhood idol? So I that would have been cool. I mean, that part. I mean, I didn't.
But it was cool for the Rangers to have Shesterkin shut us out, right?
Yeah. But Quick's been the best backup in the league this year, bar none.
Yeah,
he's been lights out. So
lots of people would argue with you that he's the backup, right?
Well, that's the thing. But I mean, all that said, it's like Wolf he's got to play more. And I agree with you about Vladar. I mean, I think it's time to move on from that.
Losing that asset, as much as I like Dan Vladar, but losing that asset and keeping Markstrom to mentor Wolf, I'm okay with that.
As we talked about ad nauseum, we have a lot of long-term contracts like Kadri, Huberdeau, and Weegar. Like, you got to be somewhat competitive, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Let go to the Coleman thing. I'm sorry. I've had a hard time this week because I feel like I'm getting a lot of backlash on that, and I welcome it because everybody has their opinion. But I want to make sure that I'm not thinking crazy.
No, you're representing, I think, a large portion of Calgary fans. Maybe they aren't as vocal necessarily, but there's all kinds of different opinions in this, as there should be. So the Coleman thing, a couple things. First of all, I saw a list where he was ranked like the 9th worst contract in the league, which is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen. Because even if he wasn't having a standout year like he is, his $4.9 million is not out of line with what the value is in a player in his role these days.
Blake Coleman is everything we want him to be. I mean, seriously.
When Tanev gets traded, they should tattoo an A on Coleman's chest.
For sure he's getting
it. And largely, largely because of shit like what he said, and this was in The Athletic, we moved a couple of pieces now that were pretty vocal about not wanting to be here. I think once you eliminate that, the noise at this point, it's not really affecting us.
So we know he's talking about Zadorov, right?
100%.
Now is the question, is he talking about Lindholm or not?
A couple of pieces. Who else have we moved? Like,
I would agree.
a couple is two. That's what I used to say when I was like, one or 2 years old. The first time I spoke, I'd say a couple is two. Well, that's Who else could it be? And okay, this is
Does
where I
that
started.
surprise you?
What's that?
Does that surprise you?
That he said that?
No, that Lindholm was that person.
Yes and no, but this is the problem. Like, these guys will come out and say, "Oh, I wanted to stay." It's you wanted to stay with an asterisk. The asterisk is if they pay me the shitload of money that I thought I was worth, which I wasn't.
They overpay me drastically, I would love to stay.
And look at Lindholm. He had 2 goals in his first game in Vancouver.
Hasn't done
Look at
anything
him since. No, and again, we talked about this on the last show. He's a great player. Zadorov is a very physical defenseman who's prone to defensive lapses. But anyway, you know what you're getting. Yeah, exactly. Like, committing to those guys long term would have been absolutely catastrophic for this team. And Coleman's comments, again, look at how good they've been. And obviously there's an argument to be made about Kuzmenko helping the power play and helping Jonathan Huberdeau. Pahal's been a really good defenseman in the bottom pairing role, I feel like.
Pahal's been amazing. I thought Kuzmenko looked kind of bad last night or last.
Yeah, but that's the ebbs and flows of a talented Russian player, like, who's, with all due respect to him, quite one-dimensional.
Yep.
Like,
that's why, we find out in the next year what we want to do, if we want to keep him or not, right?
Oh, and I mean, you could even flip him at the deadline if the bottom really falls out. I mean, I'd like to keep him around because I love his attitude, and it's reflective of the attitude that Coleman's talking about. But if you don't want to be here, bye.
Like, you know what? Okay, the Russians have this persona that they don't want to play two ways, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's written in stone forever.
Well, it's also not true because there's been some players like Pavel Datsyuk who were really good on both sides of the puck, right?
Exactly.
Igor Larionov was one of the best defensive centers of his generation.
Kuzmenko came to Calgary, they said that he's a prototypical one-way Russian, like Ovechkin used to be.
He's like a likable Sergei Berezin.
God, you dug deep with Sergei Berezin? Holy shit.
I grew up watching that guy.
Wow.
Dmitry Kristich. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh,
I don't know. Why do
you're going to say no? I can't think of any more. Andre Kovalenko.
Why do I protect Lindholm though? Why do I?
Because he was a really good player for us for a number of years, and he was. Somebody mentioned on X today about we all talk about Gaudreau, Lindholm, and Tkachuk. Well, what about Gaudreau, Monahan, and Lindholm? He was a great right winger. He was a great center, but you move on.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's same things happen, in my workplace. Like, you don't want to be here anymore. There's the door.
Yeah, no, I can't agree with that more because you got to have everybody pulling in the same direction. So
yeah, and it doesn't mean difference of opinion or bad days or arguments. I mean, that's all part of it. But I agree wholeheartedly with Coleman's comments, and that's not to say anything about Zadorov and Lindholm. It's just you guys wanted to stay for teams or for terms that were incredibly unfair to the team and not beneficial.
Do you think it's kind of odd though? Like, why do all these things come out after people leave? I mean, I know most people don't have the stones to say it while someone's here, but I don't know.
Well, part of it's just being professional, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But why did he say it? What's the motivation behind saying it?
Well, I didn't read the whole interview, so there's some context there that obviously he had to respond somehow to a comment.
I'm gonna have to read it. It's on The Athletic. I'm gonna have to read it.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it as well. But point being is that that obviously it was actually a pretty good response. When you think about it, like he's not throwing the players into the bus, just they don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah.
Because maybe they thought the window to win a cup was a closing. Like they feel how they feel, and you don't have to demonize them for that.
No,
it's okay. The relationship's over.
I got a question for you.
Oh.
Do you healthy scratch Tanev?
Oh man. Oh, people have been screaming for this. Yeah, I think at this point I would. I was okay with it the last 2 games, but after seeing him get shaken up a couple times,
he was down the tunnel twice. I think it was in New Jersey, and then going into the net hard at New York, that one pushed me over the edge. But when is the right time? I don't know. Like I respect the hell out of Conroy for not doing it so far because I do think it's helped.
It's kept the team fairly competitive.
I don't know. But at some point, like, man, at some point, like, holy shit, something's gonna happen, man. Like,
Well,
something's gonna happen. Like, he's gonna get hurt.
Well, yeah, presumably yes. I mean, if this just because the way he plays, but at this point, it's probably going to mean like Jordan Esteley or somebody comes back in the lineup unless you get a young defenseman in return, which is what I'd like to see in return for Tanev, because I do think we're a little bit lean. I mean, Poirier and Solivoyov and some of those guys are not quite where we'd like them to be in terms of NHL readiness, I think. But yeah, to answer your question more directly, I'm at the point where I'd scratch him.
Okay, so part 2 of this question.
Damn it.
We keep saying this about Tanev, which I don't necessarily disagree. I think probably do it because, man, if I would have had Huska's cell phone number, I would have texted him during the game against the Rangers and been like, get him out of the lineup, send him to the locker room.
Yeah. And we've had it, this is the nature of the position, but like, remember in 2015, we lost Giordano.
Yep. Why aren't we screaming for Cgy Hannafin then?
Doesn't play the same way.
I know, but he could blow out an ACL.
Well, yeah, of course he could, but he doesn't play the same way, and we don't know where he's at with the team because last we knew there was still possibility of him wanting to stay long term.
So do you the more this time goes on, the more I think we have to. Okay, yes, I know it's not just up to the Flames; it's up to Hannafin, but we have to do everything in our power to try to sign him. Because the second we don't have him, we're going to be out looking for a Hannafin, and it's not going to be there. This guy has really impressed me this year, and I haven't always in my lifetime been pro Hannafin.
No,
I've
no.
been very,
very the show as a host. No, but I understand that. Yeah, you could potentially have a similar player in a Shillington or a Jeremy Poirier, or even this is much further up in Etienne Morin. Like there are possibilities, but I'd be more inclined to sign him because he's still a very attractive age. But it's also going to come down to what's the term and the dollar amount.
It's 8 years, and I'm giving him up to 7.5. I don't know. Be crazy.
No, you're probably market value. You're not. I don't think you're off base at all.
I may be under market value.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking about all this talk about Cale Makar being in need of a contract extension here soon too, and him coming home to Calgary.
He get 12. He's not coming to Calgary. He's going to get 12 from Colorado.
Probably. How do you ice a competitive team when you throw that much money to a guy? I don't get it. We talked about this before.
They're going to have to give Pedersen 13.
What's the highest paid player to win a Stanley Cup?
It's under 10, I think.
Well, I think it's Crosby's 8.7 probably. Maybe Ovechkin at 10. Or whatever.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway,
did you see how many scouts are in New Jersey?
I heard how many scouts are in New Jersey.
Tampa, Vegas, Seattle, Florida, Vancouver, Boston, Buffalo, Minnesota, Philly, San Jose, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Nashville, Dallas, Montreal, Anaheim, and New Jersey. Holy cow, that's half the league.
Yeah. So you mentioned Vancouver because we got to point this out because we're not any kind of a hockey podcast if we don't mention this. You're aware who's trying out for the Vancouver Canucks, eh?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Phil Kessel.
How does that ever work?
Well, the one a selfish winger, you just got rid of one.
If you told me of all the people that would take a half a year off and struggle to get back into game shape, like the dictionary would have a picture of Phil Kessel.
Yeah. There's a lot of unflattering pictures of him floating around, but the guy's won 3 Stanley Cups, so who the hell are we to talk, right?
But man, who are they taking out of their lineup? They've been like on fire. Who the hell's coming out of their lineup for Phil Kessel?
It's hard to say down the stretch. Things change, right?
They're crazy. They're crazy.
I think it's hilarious. He's practicing in Abbotsford, which is just cracks me right up. Anyway,
gosh,
oh Lord. So let's finish up our talk on defensemen because we need to point this out. Mackenzie Weegar's hat trick.
Yep,
15 goals,
leads the league.
Yep, looking to be the first Flames defenseman since probably Phaneuf to score 20.
Probably correct there, but
Adrian O'Coin had 10 plus 1 year. I remember.
Has the Flames ever had a leading defensive scorer before? Al McInnes, maybe? I don't know. I'm just
Gary Suter possibly as
oh,
well.
Yeah.
What did Giordano have as Norris here? 17, I want to say.
Probably, yeah, somewhere up there.
I don't think he hit. I'm quite certain he didn't hit 20. Let's find out.
Hey Kyle, did you pick that Allen wrench up when you dropped that Allen wrench today?
No, somebody else did. Why?
I just noticed my chair here. My screw is in my chair. It is, honest to God, I need an Allen wrench.
Well, it wasn't mine, so I didn't think it was my responsibility to pick it up. Oh, all no, right. Sorry. 15-16, Giordano had 21 goals.
He did, huh?
21 goals, 56 points in 82 games, and that was 3 years prior to his 74 and 78 game season where he won the Norris. So prior to Giordano, it was definitely enough. So that's still pretty damn good company.
And to think Weegar was the forgotten piece of the Huberdeau trade.
He and Coleman are two guys that should have letters in their jerseys.
I don't know. I don't think just because he's scoring goals we need to put letters on. But
it's not about the goals. It's about how he is as a player, his media presence. I love that guy.
I do too. But I sit and I look at Rasmus Anderson and I'm like, geez, there's an A right there too, right?
Yeah, he could be captain. He could succeed Backlund at some point, right?
I know. That's a good problem to have, right?
Yep.
You look at our team and you got Weegar and Anderson. Probably going to lose Hanifin, I would guess. Or we're for sure going to lose Tanev. But when you're building off of those two, that's a pretty good group right there.
Doesn't this speak to what Coleman said, though? Just to come back to that for a second, about the guys that don't want to be there versus the guys that are there. Like, we have a lot of good leaders on this team.
Yeah.
A lot. And remember, we were all panicked about losing Giordano, and look how good of a season we had after he was gone. And that's not because he was gone. I'm not suggesting that, but
no, it was not at all. But like, have you heard anybody say, geez, I really miss Lindholm?
No.
Have you heard
this season? Hell no.
And then in the year after we lost Giordano, did you hear many people go, geez, really it'd be nice to have Giordano? We dealt with it, right?
There was a lot of sorrow in the summertime when he was claimed, but
yeah, for sure. But once the season got going, it got forgotten pretty damn quickly, didn't it?
Because whether they're great or they're not, like, no matter how you look at them, again, change is a good thing in pro sports.
Yeah.
Because somebody else has to step up. The team has to move on. You got to fill that hole. I digress.
What did you think the other night when I almost said Keith Kincaid? No, it's not Keith Kincaid. Vitek Vanacek comes flying out of his net, right? And Pospisil like jumps to get out of his way, kind of hits him.
Yeah.
And then Kadri does hit him. Have you ever seen two guys hit a goalie in one play? I haven't. And then the puck goes right to Pospisil. He fires it in the net that's open. That's a freaking goal. The referees flat out got a little too skittish and were worried about what was going on and blew the whistle.
Why do I feel like we already talked about this?
We did, because we talked about it on the phone, though. We didn't talk about it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it should have been a goal.
Should have been a goal.
And a lot of guys had said that. Like, when the goaltender makes a decision to come that far out of his net, like, you're basically fair game.
Well, we didn't even hit him.
No, but even if there is a collision, who cares? You made the decision to go out and basically be a player. You're not in your blue paint. You're not even behind your little trapezoid.
But Pospisil could have laid a shoulder into him, and he didn't. He tried to jump around him. He still clipped him a little bit, but he tried to literally jump around him. I don't know. In
hindsight, it was kind of like a Pospisil. It's like, oof, that was close. And Kadri's like, here, this is how you do it.
Exactly. That was what it was. Yeah. But you know what's so funny about this is, I don't know, maybe I'm tooting his horn too much, but Pospisil, the guy has been really good. And he got into Panarin's head the other night really good, too. This guy is like Michael Furland-esque. I don't know. I'm maybe with a little more scoring touch, but some people would be able to argue that with me. And maybe
Furland had such a heavy shot, and he had very skilled line mates, so it's hard to kind of compare them in that regard. But Pospisil on a fantastic, again, contract extension. He's gonna be worth every penny and far more. Yeah, he was all over Panarin, and I remember I you still say tweeted or I posted, or I'm gonna call it tweeted. I tweeted about
I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, stupid. Panarin to be ill-advised, to try Pospisil.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. By the way, I liked it. Yeah. I don't know. He gets in players' heads. He does. He does a really good job of what he set out to do. And boy, what a blessing to get him at $1 million. So
Yeah.
So as we're back from a 4-game road trip. We're home for 4. And I know people in Calgary are under the sentiment of tank. And that's where X Factor comes in this week. And the X Factor comes from Flames fan villain era, NHL Zary. Sorry.
Yep.
I don't care what online Flames fans say. I'm never going to cheer for losses. And I'm with them, man. I'm really struggling.
I can't do that.
I can't either. I'm glad we're on the same page on this. I can't.
Like, I don't, these guys that are, and there's a lot of them that are, and I understand that, man. There's nothing more exciting than a high draft pick at the draft, off season, that kind of thing. But there's nothing more. Like, I want us to be in the playoff race. I want to come down to the wire. Like, I love scoreboard watching. I love thinking, are they going to squeak in? If they do, will Markstrom go on a run and they'll win around? Like, I'm not going to go so far as to say real fans would never cheer for this, but I think if they're being honest with themselves, nobody cheers for this.
I know, and I saw this tweet or whatever, and I'm like, that's got to be my X Factor this week, because it is starting to wear on me a little bit to see so many people just thinking that it's such an automatic that things would work out if we just had all these draft picks and we went all young. Like, I'm not Daryl Sutter. I don't want to not have young players. I do want young players. Yeah. Just think you have to have a mix, right? I think you have to have a mix.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see. But that is the X Factor for this week. And thank you for that. So San Jose comes to town Thursday night. And then we have Saturday, a beautiful, lovely day game with the Red Wings. Followed by, even better yet, a day game on a Monday, as it's family day.
Yeah, it's family day. I keep forgetting it's a long weekend. Thank you for reminding me.
You know what blows my mind about this is when ticket prices are like $30, then it can be family day. When they're $250, it's not family day. Might be rich family day. But I don't know. I hate day games. I've said it 100 times. I got to quit talking about that. But San Jose comes to town. Is this a trap game?
Oh, yeah. It's a definite trap game. Absolutely.
So are we going to hear the excuse, well, they're coming off a 4-game road trip and they get back home, they have a lot to do, and it's very difficult to come back out with a lot of fire early in the first period? I guarantee we're going to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are we missing? What else did we not talk about?
That's all the big stuff, I think. There's a lot of talk about this stuff here.
You do any stupid shit this week?
Stupid shit. I got hit with a wrist shot right on the laces playing hockey the other night.
That's not stupid. Tanev does that every night.
Good answer.
Right?
Stupid shit. What do we qualify as stupid shit?
I didn't do any stupid shit this week. I got a feeling I may, in the next couple weeks, when I start feeling better, end up doing stupid shit. Oh, you know what I did the other night? We went axe throwing. Have you ever went axe throwing?
No, but I've wanted to.
Axe throwing. It's fun. I suck.
Well, is that something you practice? I assume, like anything else, right?
Well, I don't know. The guy next to me looked like he fucking practiced a lot, because he's like throwing them underhanded and stuff. And I'm like, don't get fancy with me here, dude. But he had an axe, so I kept my mouth shut. So,
oh man,
that's it. I'm watching the game tomorrow night. San Jose at Calgary.
And yeah, I'm playing hockey tomorrow night. Okay. You made me think of a clip. I had to mention this because it was so funny. But before we came on, you made a comment about, you said, I think you actually quoted exactly. So, you know what I'd like to do? And I forget what you said, but immediately I thought of the first Wayne's World movie and Stan Mikita's doing that.
What did I say I wanted to do?
I don't know. But what I thought of was the guy sitting at I forget who it is, forget the actor now, but he's sitting at the coffee bar. And he says, he's talking to the donuts, the creepy guy that runs the donut shop, the manager, and he's like, he's complaining, right? He's like, oh, I got paid today. The donut guy, the manager's like, oh, I know what that's like. He's no, you don't understand. They laid me off. And he shows him his pink slip. And he says, you know what I'd like to do? And then Glenn looks at him, the manager, and he's like, yeah, I know what you'd like to do. You'd like to find the guy that did it, rip his still beating heart of his chest, and hold it in front of his face so you can see how black it is before he dies. And the guy's like, actually, I was thinking about filing a grievance with the union. Glenn's like, oh, the world's a twisted place.
Holy cow.
I think I can quote that entire movie.
Two movie segments in our show today. That's crazy.
What was the other one? What did I say before?
Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah. The Willem Dafoe thing. Yeah, man.
2 in 1 day. Oof. What's
we're trying to we spent 15 minutes at the start of the show not talking about the Flames. We're broadening our horizons.
We want to talk about the Flames, but we also got to talk about other things, right? I mean, geez.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
But yeah, so trap game tomorrow. Hopefully that goes well. I am heading to Calgary on the 27th. Maybe the 26th, because I'd love to get to the Kings game on the 27th. And then
T-shirts in hand. He's going to have T-shirts.
I will have T-shirts. I've already tweeted that I want to meet as many fans as I can while I'm there, because I love the people of Calgary, and I feel like I'm an adopted son when I'm there. And then the Kiprusoff jersey retirement on March 2nd, which is the same day as when they did in Ginla's in 2019. And same thing again. They've got a beautiful video tribute plan. There's T-shirts for everybody in attendance. Beer cans with a number on them. It's gonna be pretty cool, and it's also a big deal to pull Nika Kiprusoff out of seclusion.
One of the greatest. I mean, man, is there anybody more fun to watch in net than Nika Kiprusoff? I don't think so. But
no, I agree.
It's going to be a very, very special night in Calgary.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about that next week as I get prepared for that journey. But in the meantime, we will have plenty to talk about, and as always, you can interact with us on our socials.
That is right. Our socials. What are we having next week? Maybe trades? I don't know what to talk about, but it seems like every week we have plenty to talk about on Flames Unfiltered. Have a good Flames fans. I got
Yeah, feel better, Brad.
I'm good. I did pretty decent on the show today, like alertness wise, considering I
if you hadn't said you're sick, nobody would have known you're sick. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel. I don't know. I'm usually more of a whiner.
I love self-awareness. I love it. It's great.
All right. Should be an interesting week. Have a good week, Flames fans. And back next week talking more Flames hockey. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.